Righto, back from Alice Springs. So I did this yesterday and didn't think it through, so I thought I'd do it again. So first things first, thanks very much to the organisers of the CentreNats. Jody and I were in a car club in Cairns years ago, it's still running. G'day to the All Ford FNQ guys and girls. We were committee members there for years in Cairns, and we know what it takes to run a small club and run some reasonable size events. I think we pulled 5,000 people as a top, having Moffat Jr. and Ross Stone, Van Gisbergen, etc. James Courtney, sorry James, to those events. We know what it takes to put an event on. This was much bigger, obviously, and to do it in Alice Springs, much bigger. Now numbers were down this year. I think the media's helped with that. Certainly that's Jody's opinion. I've lived in Alice Springs for a couple of years, so I know the place very well. And I'd encourage you to go to these regional events. So anyway, thanks very much to the organisers. This is just uber cool as far as I'm concerned. I thought I'd misplaced this, I was pretty upset. I'm just stupid. But yeah, to get this as an entrant, then you got the sticker on the car, which I'll take off and I'll try and get one of my toolboxes, because I just think it's really cool. So yeah, the event was great. And so now let's talk about the car and how the car went, driving 5,600 Ks. So fuel economy, a lot of people ask about the EFI, the fast, and the Holy for that matter when I had it, what it does for fuel economy. Well, I can conclusively say that it doesn't do much. Not much at all. But we took numbers from the get-go to the very end. So 5,676 K, I think we're on it now, for the trip. So the car has actually got about 13,000 on it since we put it on the road 2 and a bit years ago. Now, fuel economy. These things are an aerodynamic brick. They just are. I was driving the Fairlane yesterday and it just reminded me just how unaerodynamic this thing is. The Fairlane's just like slippery compared to this. And when you let your foot off the throttle, it just rolls along. I guess this is a manual, so you got much more negative torque, I suppose. But you can feel when a semi-trailer road train comes head on you. And the wind was just extraordinary this year. Once we sort of got from Wentworth up to Broken Hill, and yeah, we went to the Mad Max Museum, that was cool. Got the t-shirt, you know, all that sort of stuff. I'll put a heap of photos up of the trip and little videos we did between me and Jody. But essentially, we saw an 8 to the litre once. We also saw 5 point something to the litre twice or 3 times. On average, around at the 6.5, 7-ish mark per litre. So Warwick, I do it different to you. We did miles per gallon, now we do kilometres per litre. I don't believe in this litres per 100 rubbish. It just doesn't make sense to my brain. Metric is litres per kilometres per litre, sorry, and we get about 6.5, 7. Back in the day, I seem to remember that'd be about right for a Cleveland on petrol. So is there a big improvement on a carburetor? Nope. However, Alice Springs is high and hot. That's why Boeing do their high and hot testing out of Alice. And a lot of guys that drove in or had towed their cars there had all sorts of problems once they got to 2,000 foot altitude and 37 degrees. Talking to one young fellow in Cooper Pedy who had a blown Van Commodore about, he said, I was just running 9.6 AFR, very rich, times have gone. And I said, that's just the effect of low density air, low density because it's hot, and low pressure because it's high. Anyway, high in altitude that is. So a lot of guys had a lot of heating problems. So on the car, no heating issues. We did the town cruise, which is just a really cool thing to do. A whole town comes out for it, it's really good. We didn't overheat and we had the aircon going flat out with the windows open. Just as I got back to the showgrounds where the car was, on one side of the Pavilion building, you go in the other, if you will. She started creeping up a bit. I whacked the aircon off. Within 2 minutes, no exaggeration, back down to a quarter where it stayed for the entire trip. So the Aussie Desert Cooler in pretty extreme sort of conditions, idling around for over half an hour and in heavy traffic, you know, on that cruise. A lot of cars had to pull off because they overheated. We didn't. So ticking the box finally for the Aussie Desert Cooler. And your fuel economy could be related to your right foot as well. But yeah, the most we saw was 8. I think that was a fluke. You could, if you're very, very gentle and overtake very gently, and I don't, you could see 7. But consistently, we're in the high 6s, low 7s. That's what we're getting out of it. That's her done and dusted. Other things. So, things that broke on the car, bugger all. Really, it's just amazing how reliable it was. We'll talk about the fast a bit more. So, fuel enrichment is a bit of an issue with it, and we'll go and look at that right now. I'll show you what I did to fix it. So, when you put your foot down, let's get the screen up here, the one we prepared earlier. When you put your foot down, I found that it's going to press fuel enrichment there, that the thing would bog down. And I'll show you the screen that was giving me that indication before. But if you have a look at GXL fuel, I have pulled that down to -3. So you have a scale of 8 you can play with. So I've pulled it down to -3, and that seems to be in a reasonably happy place. So we'll just put the camera down for a sec. Just go back. We're happy with that. We'll go back to home. We'll go to live data, and I'll just kick her in the guts. And that's how it starts every time. It'll catch that. It's got fresh oil in it. I gave it an oil change last night. And this screen here, number 4, this is the interesting one. Now, it's going to be all over the place at the moment because it's dead cold. And it was 5 degrees here last night. So the engine's cold, stone cold right now. But what would happen is this one here, this is what's actually happening, and this is your target. At the moment, target's 13.5 because we're cold engine, right? And you'd put your foot down, and this initially, if you're in 5th or 4th gear and try and roll on rapidly, it would just go down. We had a couple of little backfires, and I realised the thing was just too rich. So that's just something that I did in tuning. And the other thing I did was, turn all that off now, was to turn the AFR down a little bit. So put that down there. Turn the AFR down to 14.5. Down, up. So down, a bigger number means less fuel. That's why I'm calling it down. The gauge seems to read a little low, full stop, in what it's giving you. So, volts, for example, 13.5 is what it reads, even though the car's got 14.4. So I went, bugger it, I'll pull it down to 14.5 after we had a really sooty exhaust and low fuel consumption out of Balranald it was. And the thing's been a lot better since. The other thing that's interesting about the fast, I just want to wrap this one up, is it's still learning. So periodically I plug it in, and we had it in Cooper Pedy on the way back. So you're now well over 3,000 k into the trip. I put a new program on, I reset the program. Just before we left with new iridium spark plugs. I found some for a Cleveland. And bug me dead if the thing isn't still learning. And it does feel better and better and better. And the soot at the arse end this car has always suffered has really dropped down. In fact, we're going to have a look at it. So you can have a look at nearly 3,000 k of driving is looking like, that used to just make the bumper bar, sooty as. I mean, you can see all the trails I used to have, but these would get black. And, well, I haven't touched it since Alice Springs, and it's just not as sooty as it was. It's probably still not right. We could probably land it off a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about getting one of those AFR sets out of Western Australia. So Australian mob make them, and you can measure what your AFR is doing. And it probably wouldn't hurt to put one in the right-hand pipe, and then we can have an independent look of what fast is doing as to what another system would read. And then I can adjust the computer better. That said, reliable, man. You just saw it start up, stone cold. It was 5 degrees here last night, and it just runs. So what else? So many bugs. Just so many bugs. So I'll give it a good clean. I changed the oil yesterday. We'll give the K&N a clean, and it's a good example of how much air these things suck. I mean, that was a clean filter before we left. So it's filthy now. It's only 5,600K. Probably because it's exposed and not in an airbox. I just pulled that out of the catch can this morning. So I emptied it before we left. And again, this is my whole thing about catch cans. Better to catch this in a can and throw it in the bin, or put it into waste or whatever, than burn it in your engine. Just my opinion. What else we got? So we've got a bit of a leak out of the diff. We'll have a look at that. The central locking's got a little issue. So these are little things that happen to us. The mirror fell off. And I've learnt, if you're gluing your mirror back on again, don't put the primer on the metal piece. I've been doing it for years and they keep falling off. Now I know why. Idiot. Read the instructions again, Blue. Little problems with the central locking in that this one's not working in the unlock. It's working, but what's happening is the crimp on the bars behind this door trim, and it's done it once before, has slipped and won't unlock the door properly. So we'll fix that today. Another thing I wanted to bring up was the wheel alignment. 13,000K in an XC Falcon, and these things back in the day were shocking for wheel alignment. Usually the lower control arm bushes would fail, or the uppers were incorrectly fitted, but they weren't great when you put big wheels on them. So we've got big fats on this, as you know, 245s all the way around. It hasn't scrubbed the tyres one iota, just nothing. So really happy with that. The thing drives well. It's notchy around the neutral point because of the double RS, which we will not be putting into the ute. But that said, coming through the Flinders Range, let's talk over this. The steering is pretty bloody pointed. In fact, I'd call it very pointed for an old XC, which stuff all understeer, which some people might like. Actually, I don't mind a bit of understeer. This thing's very pointed with the double RS, and it handles flat as a pancake. Like, there's no body roll on this thing at all. So what we've done to it clearly has worked, and it does handle particularly well. You know, I've had plenty of XCs, ZHs in my life, and this thing by far handles the best. But all modern bushes, I think that has a big play in it. Righto. So we're getting towards the end. Sorry about the long-windedness. Had a few issues before we left with exhaust leaks. Permatex. Put it into that hole there. There was a little hole in there, and it hasn't leaked out. That's amazing. And it was all leaking through these seals here, and it's all held, and there's no exhaust leaks anymore, which was causing problems with the fast. Particularly this one here. We did have a leak at this flange here, right next to the O2 sensor, and I think that was causing most of the problems we were having with the thing getting richer and richer and richer, is because this was leaking here. Probably didn't need to replace the O2 sensor. Now I've got a couple of spares, no big deal. So, and the other thing is the diff, it's venting. Like you can just see the amount of oil that's just even on the sway bar, and it's coming from this vent here. Now I wonder if there's a problem with this, because it really shouldn't be venting that much. And it's not overfilled, it's filled to the fill plug, which is, I can't remember where it is now. Good one, blue. Yeah, there it is, other side. So I just need to fix that, and it's weeping out of this bolt here as well. I'm not sure what that is. I've never even paid attention to what that is. It may have the wrong sort of washer on it. That's a anti-shake washer. I don't remember ever taking that out, that bolt. I'll have a look in the old factory manual. That's probably meant to be a crush washer. Hopefully I've got a copper one. But apart from that, nothing to see. Just nothing to see. The car just drove like a car, like a modern car. Except, oh, that was the other thing. Flange, sorry mate, I talk too much. Road noise, shocking. Despite insulating the car and it being a lot better than it was, I didn't insulate the doors. Big error, I should have done that. And I should have fully lined the boot as well, because the stereo is pretty much useless, to be honest with you, once you're at speed. It's good while you're static. That said, one of the channels has gone. It could be a wiring issue, I'm hoping it is. But I knew that before we went on the trip. So Jodie was fairly disappointed that she couldn't use her Spotify the way she wanted. So that's it. I'm going to fix these things up now. And that's CentreNats. Idiot blue. CentreNats, done and dusted. So great trip, had a ball. Thanks to everyone that just waved, come up, had a chat, everywhere. It wasn't just at the CentreNats itself. Particularly Brian, thank you very much, who watches the show and frankly has built a better car than me. He's built a beautiful XY ute in a GT format, and he's put air conditioning in it, but you can't see it on the dash. Very clever man, and really high-end job. So Brian, cheers mate, thanks for coming up to say g'day. And everyone else that just waved and whatever. The car had a massive response. Out there at Silverton, we put the car under the sign, take a couple of photos, and people came up from caravans and ended up wanting a group photo with this thing under the Silverton sign. So that. Righto, first day. We're on the Hay Plain. Jodie's making a cup of tea and a bicky. And she's going good, as far as we can tell. Put some Meridian plugs in it 2 days ago. Has made a significant difference. Fuel economy got down to 5 to the litre, which is where the LPG used to be. But now we're back up to 7. Gave it a retune, reflash, fixed up some exhaust leaks. I said that before, and the thing, strong as an ox. Going really, really good. Haven't been through too much roadworks today, but it's midday and we're about 40k west of Hay, so we're tracking well. The boot's full. Yeah, no, going good. So, report from Wentworth, that's where we're headed. Righto, we're in Wentworth, so 860 odd K today. It's the longest single day we've done in it since we built it. Everything's going well still. It's not getting warm. It's not chewing excessive fuel anymore. Strong as an ox. Just really happy with it. So plenty of bugs. But, we'll get our old springs in 2 days and give it a clean. So in the meantime, we're at righto, here we are. Mad Max Museum with the XC. Very cool. Haven't got time to really hang around much. Got to drive to Petersburg. Alright, she's going good. Just did a few tune adjustments. Still a bit sooty for my mind, so if you have a look here. So I've just pulled the AFRs down a little bit and we'll have a look at the screen. Whether we've got some shit fuel at Balmoral, in fact. Don't know, but the economy dropped off from 7 point something to 6 just instantly. So whether develop another fuel like or not, I don't know, but we'll get there.
Righto, here we are at the CentreNats, and we got invited into the pavilion. So, I can't find the lens in this one. We've got a thumbs up there somewhere. There we go. So we're pretty chuffed with that, to get invited into the pavilion with all the what they call the elite cars. I wouldn't call it elite car, but there we are. So there's a look around the pavilion. There is a lot of nice cars here in Alice. Particularly that one. Actually, there's a lot of nice cars here. So, yeah, to be invited in to join this crowd, we're really chuffed. We're really chuffed. And Shawnee, your efforts, mate. Bloody beautiful. Just good on you, man. You should be proud. You should be really proud of what you've done. So there you go. We made it. Got the t-shirt, and everyone's amazed that we drove it here. That's the big thing. That has been the big thing. It's like, holy shit, we drove it here. Yep. So, thumbs up from Jody. Cool. And we've got the street parade coming up, so big drive and all that, so all good. Righto, everyone just lining up, getting ready for the Alice Springs street parade. Just give a bit of a view. Quite a large event for this town. It's a big event. So it's well sponsored, it's well organised, and everyone seems to be behaving themselves really well, so always a good thing. But yeah, we'll wait here for about an hour apparently. We won the tree, winning.
On the street parade, and oh my lordy torty, there's 1 million people. How cool is this? Going through the gap, the old Alice, all the spectators loving us sick. Fully sick.
The whole town's out.
I know. The whole town is out. It's pretty cool.
On the beers, on the road.
On the beers, hanging on the side of the road, up on their vans. That's so cool. God love it. All walks of life.
Right, I've just realised we haven't filmed any of the car driving.
Oh.
So, Jodie's going to film. Don't swear.
Sorry.
Goodness.
That's a really fabulous picture of a bin.
Yeah,
That's
whatever.
awesome. Skin bin. Fabulous.
You love filming.
Driving out of Bon Bon Station rest area. Literally in between Coopapedy and Woomera.
Gonna say it out loud. Between New South Wales, Queensland, Northern Territory, South Australia. South Australia has got the worst rest stops.
They're pretty bad.
They're pretty shocking. Just unclean.
Manky.
Alright, let's give some berry to the old girl. Ready?
Yep, 110 in the South Australia.
Going great. Just going great. And cruise control. Dunsky. Very happy. Very happy. The car's just going fantastic. And we've realised it's got 11,000 car on it now too, so the purpose was to build it to drive it, and we've driven it. Now we've got to build another car, haven't we, Bill?
Yes. Not much to see.
No,
It's pretty
very
bloody average.
Yeah. We'll film a bit at
CentreNats.
Woomera. We'll go to the museum there. Cool. Just quick pop into Rough Base Woomera. Been here before, my service days. Was here 5 years ago with Air Force Heritage Group, looking at artefacts that were out in the range to use for future museums. Well, there was some interesting stuff out there. So anyway, in the time before that I was here, we put the Mirages into storage here before we sold them to Pakistan. So anyway, again, we're just car going great. So we've done non-stop from Coobers to here, and we used just shy of 50 litres. So all of a sudden we've pulled 7.7 to the litre out of it. And I'll put that down to tailwind, and we didn't need the aircon because it's quite cool today. So anyway, this is worth a look. If you ever come out this way, it's only 6k off the road. Have a look at Air Australia's Area 51. There's a lot of stuff here to have a look at.